Hi guys, my name is Enjoli, a student at Spelman College.
Hey guys, it's MJ, student at Morehouse College.
It's Khamani, and I attend Clark Atlanta University.
And we're back with another episode of Let's Chat, the podcast that feels like a group chat.
Let's jump into today's topic. Is it worth it? So do you guys feel like the choices you make are worth it?
I think it depends. It depends on like the situation. Hello. Anyways, I feel like it depends on the situation. Like, it depends on the topic, category. 80% of the time, I feel like my choices are worth it, but like that 20% could be a big 20%, depending on. Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
I think my decisions are usually worth it. I think I typically make good decisions when it comes to big things. Small things like getting assignments done, choosing when to do work, that stuff.
Yeah.
The small stuff.
I agree.
That could definitely use some work. But major decisions, I feel like I'm typically 75 to 80% good at making those choices.
I'm gonna keep
Actually, 80%, not like that 80%.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I feel like I make good decisions, but sometimes I don't make the best decisions, and that's okay because I'm not perfect. Like they said, you have that 80%, but that 20-30% may not be the best decisions. But hey, we're humans. We're not supposed to be. So I would say most of the time I do make good decisions, especially when it comes to like big things, like MJ said. But sometimes those small little decisions, I'm like, nah, that's okay. Like, I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna do that later. But yeah.
How do you guys make y'all decisions, like when it comes down to, like, let's say relationship? Let's start there.
Okay. My decisions can be based off my emotion, but sometimes logical. It can be a logical decision. It just depends on the situation. And most of the time I like to think it out or think it through or kind of like give it some time to think about before I make that decision.
She lying.
But
Wow.
Anyways.
Off the bat.
But sometimes I ask my friends for advice. So I do. Yes I do. I'm like, do y'all think do y'all think I should, like, you think this is a good decision or things like that? Or I go to my family or my mom. So, but relationship, I'm not in one, so.
What about in previous
She just
relationships?
want a man. Because why did she say that?
No, I don't want.
Projecting?
Oh, no.
You said what, MJ? Wait.
Anyways.
In previous relationships or other relationship experiences, how would you make your decisions? Like, was it the same thing going to your parents, family members?
No, I think most of those decisions I made were based on, like, I would just think, like, okay, I think I should do this. I wasn't really going to my parents or my sisters. Oh, I would go to my friends. I'm like, do you think I should do this before I to go do it? Like, should I do it or should I not do it? And then based off. But sometimes it's like, it's me, mainly me. Because, like, it's me and that person at the end of the day. And so the decision I make may affect them. It's not going to affect my friends. So, yeah.
Do you feel like there's, and maybe you kind of just touched that, but, like, do you feel like there's a reason why you kind of shift your decision-making, help in those situations? Like you said, like, with normal decisions, you'll go to your family, siblings, friends more. But then with your relationships, you would mainly do it by yourself without going to as many people as much. Do you feel like there's a reason?
I feel like my relationship, it's kind of like, it's like private. Like, it's not a public relationship, so everybody doesn't need to know the decision I make. So that's why when it came to, like, relationship, I'm trying to think about myself, because like I said, it's going to affect my partner. My friend's not going to be affected by that decision. My partner is. And then when it comes to, like, academics, I feel like I just need more help in that. Like, why do I need to go to my boyfriend for that? I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair. Personally, how do I make my decisions? I can make my own decisions, but I will definitely be the first person to go ask one of my friends what they think. Any of my friends, any of my male friends, female friends, doesn't really matter. My closest friends usually I'll ask first, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? If it's someone that's more well versed in the topic, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Sometimes I'll ask my parents, very rarely, and it's not that I have a bad relationship with them, it's just I don't really open up to them about things my life and stuff as much.
I feel like it's different because for me, like, I feel like ever since, well, I mean, kind of at high school, but more so now I'm in college, I usually call my mom a lot, so I call her and ask her this and that and get her advice on things. So I feel like it's very different.
So during college I've definitely started calling my mom a bit more, talking to her more, asking for a bit more advice, and my dad too. But I just didn't really think about doing that as much growing up, and so I would usually just go to my friends for help, for advice, or just make a decision myself, not really going to them as much. So for me, it's mainly just friends, and even relationships, it's mainly either what I think or let me ask a couple friends about this, because of course it's your relationship, like EJ, like you said, it's your relationship between you and your partner, not between your friends and stuff. So I'm not going to go ask all my friends, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
Because then now they're going to know all your business.
Right. But I do ask, like, a couple of my close friends, this happened. Right. What do you think I should do? What do you think happened here? So that's how I feel like I make my decisions personally.
Khamani?
As soon as they come to her head, she just acts on them.
Yeah, what he said.
Wow.
When I make my decisions relationship-wise, it depends on the situation. But usually I'll do something and then, like, I'll call my friends because, like, when I'm already in the mindset, like, I'm going to do something. Now, it's one friend I'll call anytime because I know she's going to support my delusions. Shout out to my homegirl. I'm not calling EJ, though. EJ gonna be like, don't do that. Like, don't, EJ, it's already in my head. Like, it's already, like, I already planned the vision. I already wrote it out. Like,
and then when it happens, she'd be like, dang, why did I do it? And I'm like,
when did I say that?
100%.
I do not say
100%.
No, it takes me, okay, I might say dang, but I'm not going to say dang like 2 minutes after it happened. Maybe maybe a few hours or days. Like,
it don't, the next day.
It don't even be the next day. It just depends.
It'd be hours later.
It depends on what I did, because sometimes I really don't be like caring. Like, that's the problem. I don't be caring. But yeah, when it comes down to like my parents, I've just gotten like to that point with like expressing with like relationship, because my mom was always like, oh, like, you don't need a boyfriend, like, boyfriends come with too many problems, like, you don't need that. So I would never go to her because I don't need to hear that. Like, ma, I already got a man. Like, you telling me I don't need no boyfriend, it's too late. I'm locked in with my man. Like, I don't want to hear that. So that's why I don't like. But now she be laughing with me, and I don't be laughing. I be serious. Like, this is my life right now. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, some actions.
I love my decisions.
Well, that's okay. You can make good and bad decisions, but sometimes those bad decisions lead to consequences. So
don't look at me when you
no.
say that.
No. That wasn't towards you. I'm just saying, like, the bad decisions you make. The bad decisions you make can sometimes lead to consequences, and then like sometimes it could be bad, like long-term consequences or short-term consequences. It just depends on the decision you make. So yeah.
I want to say something on that, since we're talking about that, the bad, good decisions, whatever. What do you guys feel like are some examples of good or bad decisions that you've made or that you've seen your friends make, family members, anything? If you're able to share that. I don't know, some people feel like their decisions are too bad to share, but
okay, well, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna be hold on, y'all. I'm gonna be vulnerable with y'all. So one day I was late to school. Don't be late, y'all. Wake up, get up early. But I was late to school, running to my 11 a.m. class, and I decided to park somewhere I wasn't supposed to be parked. And And
I'm sorry, excuse me.
And so I was like, I was on the phone with my friend. I was like, should I park here? She was like, no. I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to park here. I got to go to class. It doesn't matter. I was like, whatever. That was my decision making. I come back. My car is not there. It's gone. And I realized, like, that decision I made an hour before could have been different. So
it wasn't even an hour. She wasn't even there on time.
Oh, you're right. It was like, okay, I was in class for like, what, I get there at 11:10 and class ends at 11:50, so about like 40 minutes. But regardless, that decision I made was not a good decision, which led to that was a bad decision, which led to consequences of me getting my car towed. And I was shocked. I was like, this wasn't a good decision of me. It wasn't very responsible of me. But that's okay because I learned my lesson. So and at the end of the day, I won't do that again. So it's a learning lesson. You know, life is about...
It's about learning.
Right.
And actually, like, I'm over here talking, but I just remembered, like, I basically did the same thing where...
When?
Well, it was a couple... I didn't get my car towed.
Oh.
I didn't get towed. Like, we're not going that far. But it was, like, 2 weeks ago, because how the room had flooded, and so I was overstaying at my cousin's, so I was driving back and forth to school every day. So I drove up for class. I was running a little bit late, so I parked in E-Lot. Instead of G-Lot.
Yeah.
I was like, let me just park in E-Lot real quick. I come back an hour after class.
The car got booted?
Got a yellow boot on my car.
Yes, they don't play.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
45 minutes?
Yes.
I spent 45 minutes in that class. I came back, boot. And then when I look at the ticket, I got the boot 10 minutes before I came back out.
Yeah.
I had to walk all the way across campus to the parking people, and they're like, it's $50. I was like,
bad.
You know, those prices vary because I know somebody had to pay $75 for that boot.
That's not
maybe
bad.
it was $75. I don't know. I don't remember. But I was like, I have a parking pass because I have a parking pass for G-Lot, and so I was like, I have a parking pass. And they were like, well, E-Lot is reserved parking, and honestly, I didn't know that was teachers' reserved parking.
Oh, for real?
I didn't realize E-Lot. I just thought it was another lot.
Right.
For parking passes. But they were like, no, that's a reserved lot. And so, boot, car, fine. So I had to pay that, and then they took the boot off. But it wasted some of my time and my money because I decided not to go. And mind you, E-Lot is literally right next to G-Lot. And I just decided to park in E-Lot instead of G-Lot.
They should have a sign.
There is a sign that says reserved parking.
Oh, okay.
Well, since we're talking about cars, a bad decision I did with my car is, I don't know, like, I be getting lucky. Oh, no. I be parking right next to this library. And, baby, I be getting them $75 tickets. Like, I'm not going to lie, I racked up at least $400 just by parking right there.
Wow.
And it was so bad. Like, I kept telling my mom I'm getting tickets, and I wouldn't park. I didn't want to pay the $300 to park in the thing. And my mom was like all these tickets, you might as well have just paid for that. But I'm kind of glad I didn't park in there because they be having issues. Like, people who got parking passes, cars be getting towed because, like, other people, cars be in there that don't got parking pass. So if you're not parked in the thing, they'll tow your car, which is not fair. But listen, that ain't got nothing to do with me. But
that's crazy.
Another car story. Now, this isn't my story. I witnessed it, and I'm sorry if you see this. I'm not exactly putting you on blast. I don't even know your name, but I was out over by whatever. Oh, the Sweets garage or parking lot over there.
Clark?
Yeah, right
Where
there.
Yes.
Right over there. Yeah,
That's
that parking.
Brawley.
Well, Brawley, yeah, that. And we had just finished our community service.
Oh, for breaking the cycle.
Yeah, we had just finished our community service, and there was a car trying to get into the parking lot, and we were trying to gather near there to take a picture. And so we tried to, like, back up a little bit to give them some more space to come through the gate, and then they tried to come through, but they ended up hitting the gate, and the gate messed up their car door.
Wow.
And I thought that was, and honestly, I'm thinking about it, I feel like it's a good example of multiple decisions where you could say, were those good or bad decisions?
Right.
On the driver, I don't necessarily think the driver trying to go through there was a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just how they went through. They did seem, to me, it seemed like they went through a little bit fast and weren't exactly paying attention to the right side of the car as much. But at the same time, the person directing them was like, you have space to come through. And usually if you see anybody that's like, oh yeah, you can come through, you're going to go through, because they're like, oh, they're telling me that I have space to go through.
Right.
And so I thought that it wasn't the best decision making on the car driver, maybe on how they approached it, but actually trying to make the decision of going through wasn't necessarily a bad decision.
Right.
But regardless, you ended up with the bad outcome of you have the car damage and you have to find something to do about that. I don't know how that went about being solved. But then on the person who was directing them, their decision making, was it a good decision for them to try to tell the car to come through?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They probably could have said maybe give them a little bit more space before telling them to come through.
Right.
Was that so? That good. Could have been a decision on them that you could say was a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's another important part about decision making. Some decisions, it's not just what you decide. There's other factors that come around to influence the final outcome. And so, even if you have some good decisions, they might turn out badly. You have some bad decisions, you might get lucky and they turn out well, but that's not likely to happen most of the time.
That's real.
I see we talked about bad car decisions.
Maybe let's talk about life decisions as well.
Like,
enough about cars.
Yeah, enough about the car.
You don't want to hear about that.
Yeah, do you guys have any life decisions that were bad? That could be referring to academics, going out.
I would say I have not bad decisions, but I guess we could say like bad decisions when it comes like to cutting friends off. I have a problem. Like, I feel like once you do something like really weird, like I don't even be down to like hear about it. Like, I'm just like already in the mindset and I just like cut you off, and that's just me like moving off emotions. So that goes back to like, is it worth it? It be worth it in the moment because it's like I feel like you played, but sometimes like the situation be really little. Like, you just really can't do, like, I'm just very sensitive, so when you do something to me, I just feel like I take it as disrespect. So sometimes like the situation could be really, really small. Like, I literally cut like this girl that was I hope she don't see this. I literally cut this girl who was like my best friend off because she told somebody else my middle name. But don't get me wrong, like, I really don't like my middle name, and she knew I didn't like my middle name. So it's like, why would you go and tell somebody else my middle name knowing like I barely, like, not barely want you to know, but barely want you to know. But I cut her off, and I don't talk to her because
now I have a question. I have a question for that. Do you think that decision you made was worth it in the long run?
I mean, I'm not okay. Was it worth it?
In the long run?
No, not really, but I'm not hurt by it.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like, I'm not like, dang, like, me and her was really close too. Like, I'm like, I was like, okay, like, it wasn't that deep, Khamani. Like, you could have just talked to her and told her don't do that. But it's like, I felt disrespected. When I feel disrespected, it's like, And that's me going based off my, like, emotions. So, was it worth it? No. Do I regret it? To an extent. Like, but it didn't really change much. No shade to her. Not there. So.
Okay, I understand. I see that.
I feel like bad decisions with people, there is, I don't know if I would say this was, no, I wouldn't say this is the worst decision I made with a person. My best friend now, back, I met him, one sec.
May I have your attention? May I have your attention, please? The time now is 5 o'clock. The Wood Library will be closing in 1 hour. And that was a false alarm.
Yeah, we
false
know.
Alarm.
Yeah.
False alarm. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, so my best friend, I met him 2nd grade when I switched to that school. And actually, did I actually meet him 2nd grade? No, I actually met him 3rd grade-ish, somewhere between those 2 years. But basically, our brothers are both in the same class too. They're 3 years below us, and they became really good friends. And so, like, they, you know, when you were younger, you have birthday party where, like, they invite the whole class or whatever, and when you're young, sometimes, like, the siblings come along too or whatever sometimes. And so I would come along to some of the parties sometimes, and his brother would be there, and so that's how we got to know each other more. And so we became friends through, like, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade and whatever. But the problem was I didn't really like him. I felt like he was annoying and clingy. And so all that time, for multiple years, like, I was acting fake toward him. And I would say, like, oh, I feel like he's clingy or annoying behind his back. And I felt like...
Shame.
Right,
it's a horrible decision, yeah. And... I got to 6th or 7th grade, and I kind of realized, like, how bad of a friend I was being, and how, like,
that fakeness,
how I was being extremely fake to him, and and the thing that made me not just cut him off as a friend was that how I said our brothers were friends. Like, our brothers were also best friends, and so it was like, it didn't feel like there was a way to, like, stop interacting with him
because he was always going to be around.
My brother and his brother were going to, like, invite each other over and stuff, and so then it'd be like, oh, well, does the older brother want to come along and stuff? And so I just kind of kept stringing it along and whatever. But I realized, like, how bad of a friend I was being, and eventually I've apologized to him multiple times about it now, because what I did was horrible.
Right.
And now, like, that is definitely my closest friend. I trust him with anything. He trusts me. I think with anything, I'll go to him with problems. He'll come to me. We're always there for each other now. And like, it was a bad decision. It ended up not ending up the worst way, but I would definitely say that's a decision that I would take back, and I do regret, because there was no reason for me to treat him that way in the first place. And
everybody can be annoying.
Exactly.
I would have cut you off.
And I told him that too multiple times. Like, if you would never talk to me again, if you would cut me off before whatever, I would completely understand that, because, like, that was so mean. That was exactly, it was horrible, and I'm at least thankful. You owning up to it. I'm thankful that, like,
taking
he forgave me, and
go check out the last episode.
We're as close as we are now, because, like, that's really my brother. Do anything, this day. Whatever. If he needs something, I'm gonna be there. Whatever. And so I'm appreciative of the decision that he made to not take it out against me or anything, and now we're great friends and we can move past that.
Right.
But at the same time, bad decision that I made, and something that I would definitely change.
Well, now you realize that in the long term, it wasn't worth that decision you made. So, I want to jump into ask y'all another question. Why do we struggle with making those good decisions? Like, we often choose to make those bad, like, we make a decision that ends up being bad. Why do we struggle making those good decisions? Why do you guys think that?
I struggle with making good decisions because I let my emotions, like, take over. Because I feel like I'm sensitive, but I'm nonchalant, which is very contradicting, but, like, I genuinely, like, I'm very sensitive when it comes down to my feelings, but I genuinely don't care about the actions that happen after, because I just feel like you didn't care when it came down to why are you laughing?
I love it.
I just feel like you didn't care when it came down to my emotions, so I'm not gonna care, like, what happens after. So yeah, and then, like, I also hold a lot of stuff in. Like, I hold a lot of stuff in, so if whatever you did to me make me, like, really feel away, it's D, like, I'm not gonna lie. So I just gotta work on not letting my emotions, like, run everything, because that, like MJ said in the last episode, take that time, calm down. Nothing good comes off when you're mad or when you're, like, very emotional. Nothing good comes off that. So I'm working on it. Not really, but I will be. working on it soon. Like, take that breather, take that time, and then however I feel after, I'm back to normal, and like, you know, then I could have my reaction, because then I'll know like it's a genuine reaction. It's not off, no emotion.
And then this is a slight tangent, but I wanted to like key on something she said, how you don't want to act on
Emotions.
emotion like that. One thing that like my mom has told me a lot is like she will almost never try to act when she first gets emotional about something. If she gets angry at someone,
That's good.
she might, like, if she gets angry like with a employee or someone with work or something, or on like online, something's not being done right, she might draft an email in that moment, but she won't send it.
That's
and
real.
so she'll
Give
draft
it,
it, she'll give it a day, she'll sleep on it, and then come back to it the next day, and she'll either decide this needs to be revised, and then she'll send it, or she'll just delete it and she won't send it. But I don't think she's ever had one where she was like, yeah, what I wrote last night and my emotions, that is what I wanted to send now the next day. And then she's also mentioned how if it's with something in person, like with my dad or with me or my brother or her sister, her mom, or anything, she will try to make sure she doesn't go to sleep while she's still angry at them and hasn't spoken to them about something, because you never know what can happen, and you don't want the last thing that you said to someone, or you don't want the last thing you said to someone to be something that came out of spiteful emotions, and you also don't want the last thing you said to someone to not be anything.
Right. And like that last word or that last decision you make could, like, you never know what could happen to that person. The last thing you said is like, oh damn, I regret saying that to them because we didn't end off on a good note. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like I'm gonna touch base on what y'all said about emotion. I feel like we often make the bad decision because of emotion, and that emotion can be jealousy or anger or sadness, and which can get the best of us. But I feel like with time and reflection, you can think like, oh, is that worth it? Is that really worth this decision? The decision I made, was that really worth it? And how can I change that? How can I fix that for the next time? So, which that goes into how can you improve your decision making?
Well, before I answer that, I do want to touch on myself for how I feel like I struggle with hard decision making. For me, I feel like I struggle not necessarily with the decisions themselves, but the, I guess, willpower to act on certain decisions. So like I might decide I want to do this, this, and this to further my career goals or whatever.
Right.
But then I don't ever bring myself to act on it.
Right. Oh, yeah, clock it.
Something like deciding, oh, I want to change my life. You can decide that you want to change your life,
but not
however many times.
Right.
But you also need to act on that decision.
Right. The power of the tongue is powerful.
You can say, oh, I'm deciding I'm going to go to the gym 4 or 5 times, 6 times a week. Oh, I'm going to spend 2 hours studying a day. Oh, I'm going to read an hour of a book a day. I'm going to do this, this, and that.
But never do.
But if you don't act on it, then you haven't fully made the decision. You haven't fully committed to it. And I feel like that's something that I struggle with, because there's been multiple times where I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to start going to the gym again more, and then I don't get into it.
Right.
Or I don't get into it as much as I wanted to. Or I'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to commit to doing these assignments or studying for this, this, and this week, and make sure I get back on track. And then I don't actually act on it, and I'm back in the same cycle where, oh, I'm going to say it again that I'm committing to this, and then I don't actually do it. And so I feel like that's my issue with decision making, is the second part of the decision is actually
acting on it.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yep.
I agree. I seen this TikTok about we're in an era full of people who want to get rich, but like MJ said, they don't put in the work. And it's a video of her video of her getting back in the bed, and she was like, that procrastination and laziness is like taking over her. So I just wanted to agree on that point. Before we jump to the last question, I want to go back because I feel like we only touched on negative things, and this is not just a negative, this is just not a negative topic. So I do want to sit there and ask, what are good decisions that you made that had a positive income before we, go to the last question?
You want to go first?
Yeah. I would say some decisions I made that were positive were, I feel like putting myself out there, joining organizations, applying to internships. I feel like those are good decisions that are going to lead to long-term benefits, long-term commitments that are going to lead me to success and lead me to where I want to go. And that's what I would say.
I kind of just thought about this right now as we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like good decisions are typically small. Good decisions are small decisions that you make that continuously add up. Like you said, you make the decision to apply to the internships. That's a small thing to just apply to an internship.
Mm-hmm.
But that can have a large outcome down the line,
right?
Because it could lead you somewhere else. Versus, I feel like a lot of the time, well, maybe not a lot of the time, but more so often, bad decisions are larger.
They are.
Because a bad decision, sometimes not always, but I feel like a good amount of bad decisions, it's something where you choose to do it now and it will have
a long-term effect later on.
Yeah, like you can very easily see it having a long-term effect.
Right.
But for good decisions, so like how I said, I feel like a lot of them are small. So just when I do decide to lock in for schoolwork and stuff, like EJ said, I applied to summer applications for internships and stuff for summer programs. It's like
just I feel like,
yeah, like I just feel like for good decisions, it's
a lot.
It's a lot harder because I feel like they're just small things that add up.
Right.
And so I feel like I could say something, just me deciding to go to sleep earlier.
Right.
On some days could be a good decision because that can help me with how I feel the next day. Do I have a test? Going to sleep on time before a day of a test. Deciding to do some extra studying before a test. Like, that is one that I will say I remember recently that a good decision that I made. I had a bio test last semester, and I decided that I was just going to go over all the material again the night before the test.
Oh yeah, no.
And like I had studied beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I had studied before.
That's the only time you studied?
I had studied beforehand, but I wanted to go through everything again. And as I was going through the like study guide that our TA had sent us, the concepts, they kind of clicked for me. And so then I went into the test the next day, and I want to say I got the highest test in the class.
Oh, period.
I got, I think, 98 raw score, and then we had bonus from some other stuff that we had done. But because of that test, I raised my grade from a B to an A in the class, and I didn't have to take the final for it. And so the small decision to just let me do a little bit more studying for like 2 hours before I go to sleep led to me getting an A in the class and not having to take the final.
I don't have that.
No, we don't. No, we gotta take them finals.
I mean, it's not yet. It's not yet. It's not all classes, but at least for my bio class, she was like, "Yeah, if you have an A in the class, you don't have to take the final."
Lucky.
Yeah. Some good decisions that I made, I feel like is doing lashes. I feel like that's always been one of my good decisions, and I wouldn't be able to do it without my homegirl. So shout out to her. Another good decision is being your friend's motivator, just because I feel like although you don't get so much from that, like it's not like you get a big reward, just like being able to see your homegirl or homeboy like succeed should be like your reward, like seeing that you pushed them to even get that far, and hopefully like when you know they make it, they say like shout out to blase blase, because without them I wouldn't have started. And that's me, like without my homegirl, because I always wanted to have my own business, blase blase, but I was also so scared of like the outcome. Like I was scared like how, not how everybody would look, but you know, like when you so without my homegirl telling me like you got this and motivating me and letting me try on her, I wouldn't be in the position I am in today. So I always think of that, and we motivated each other because she does hair, and I was telling her like you already know what you're doing, like you already have the platform, you just need the plan.
Or I had the platform, I just need to play it.
There you go. There you go. She had the platform. She knew what she was doing. She just needs to put herself out there. So we motivated each other. So I'm just like, that's something like I smile about, and she making it. Listen.
Okay, I think this is kind of off topic, but something I want to say for you guys is if you don't put yourself out there, no, it's something today, me and my mom were on the phone, and I was saying, I'm glad I put myself out there. I'm glad I did it, because I can say I tried. I can say I did it.
She told me that today. Oh.
Yes. I'm glad, because then you're like, dang, I wish I did that. Now you're regretting it. Yes. So it's like, at least you put yourself out there. At least you did what you had to do. At least you were confident in yourself and you tried something. Although it may not be the outcome you wanted, you can say you at least tried. So that's something. But yeah. Whatever.
I don't like that. Me don't like that. Me no gusta.
Wait, I don't know if I said that right, but anyway.
Don't be embarrassed.
Me no hablo inglés.
How can you improve your decision making? Make sure that it's worth it. Make sure that you like the outcome.
I think recently on TikTok I saw a video.
We love TikTok.
We do.
Love it.
Glad it's back.
Yes.
But recently I saw a video, and it was talking about decision making and planning for the future, and it said think about the 10-10-10 rule, in which you think about how this affect me, and I think actually my mom has said this to me before in the past, and then I just forgot about it. But think about how this will affect you in 10 seconds, in 10 months, in 10 minutes, 10 months, and then 10 years.
Right.
Because if it's some small, like it could be something small that it might only affect you in 10 minutes.
Right.
It could be
You
failing an essay. I mean, you failing a test.
It depends. If you want to go to grad school, that's gonna.
Is that a 10?
That's.
I mean,
it depends.
It depends on the class. I feel like.
It depends on what you want to do after. Cause
that's a 10-day. That's a 10-day thing.
Yeah.
We're adding an extra 10.
I don't know, cause like you fail a test, you can pull it back up with the next 3 tests.
One test does not.
What if your final 25% of your grade? That killed it. You never had a final that much?
Yes.
Okay. If it's the final, then it
then
might.
Yeah, that's.
But if you got to the point where you got to the final and you're not putting everything in it to make sure that you do better than the rest of the test, then you weren't supposed to. Yeah, you weren't supposed to pass anyway. Because
why would you say that?
If you are at the point where you're letting your final be that bad, that it tanks everything else you did in the class, then you didn't deserve to pass. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just
show up to class.
Because if you were able to,
you could show up to class and think, and you could literally sit there and learn and still.
But that's what's like if for the final.
You're right.
Exactly. You could sit there and give your all and still fail everything.
But the final, if you're at the point where you're going to completely bomb the final and it's going to kill your grade, then that means the other test probably already did that as well.
No, he ain't. That's right.
Because
what if it's the teacher's fault? Your teacher a horrible teacher. You trying your best. Like you can't.
Okay, maybe we should think about it.
You need a different topic.
Okay,
you don't know how many times like a teacher.
Okay,
who brought up a test?
I did.
Okay.
Let's not.
10, 10, 10 rule.
Right.
10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years. How will it affect you? Thinking about something. I'm going to
use a crashing out one.
Crashing out that. I am dead.
Deciding
Look at me like that.
to not fill your car with gas as you're trying to go somewhere. You think, oh, let me wait 10 minutes to get to the next gas station or whatever. Then you break down on the side of the road. 10-minute thing. You got to pay to have some gas brought out to you or whatever. Get towed to the next gas station, whatever. That's something where it's not a huge consequence, but it did affect you in that 10 minutes. It's not something that's major long term. So you can decide to make that decision if you want to. It's not going to have a major consequence on something down the line. For something 10 months, that could be how you decide to study for a test.
Right.
Because if you fail this test, maybe that does set you back and you don't do well enough in the class, and so then you have to repeat it.
Right.
That can affect you later on.
Oh, it can.
Short and long term. 10 months later, you might have to repeat the class. That could set you back. And then 10 years. That could be something that could be...
Let's just say going to jail.
Going to jail, like committing some type of crime.
Right. Getting a ticket.
I don't know about getting a ticket, but
felony
speeding.
Yeah,
Felony
there we
speeding.
go. Yeah.
You're going 15 over the speed limit. You get a ticket for felony speeding, or some other light crime. None of them are light, but for sake of topic, light crime, where it's not super serious, but it does go on your record. That could then hurt you down the line when you go to get a job. That could be 10 years later. When you go to get a job, now that's affecting you negatively because of what you did in that moment. And so it's just important to make sure you think about now, a little bit later, and far later. And so I think that's something that I can use myself to kind of help make sure that I make better decisions, and by thinking of now, a little bit later, and far later.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Just how is it going to affect me in the long term? How is it going to affect me now? I think, that's...
I just gotta be the one to refute. I just feel like, because even in like the car situation, I feel like it depends.
This is why she's the bad decision maker.
I feel like it depends because, like, this is the extreme, but it's nothing's impossible. Anything can happen. So let's say, right, the gas situation, right? Your car stopped in the middle of the road. Now the next car hit your car. Now your car is totaled. That's affecting you for more than 10 minutes.
All right. Well, that's multiple decisions. Like,
when
your car runs out of gas,
you need to pull over.
Yeah, when your car runs out of gas, you can pull over.
But if you're already going, right? Let's say you do try to pull. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it could be deeper than that. Like, it's not always going to be like just 10 minutes. Like, one decision cannot. I don't know. One decision.
You don't think one decision can affect you forever?
I'm not saying that.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, small decisions can still lead to big things. Just like... Excuse us.
Another?
May I have your attention? May I have your attention, please? The time now is 5:30. The Woodrow Library will be closing in 30 minutes.
And we're back. I feel like any decision depending on how it goes can affect you in 10 minutes or can affect you in 10 years or can affect you in, like... So, I don't know. I just don't want to... I don't know. I just don't put decisions, like, in that little thing. The only one that I might really put there is, like... Maybe, like... jail. So I guess, like, because even with a ticket like that, if you go to court and you pay it, it won't, like, affect you. It won't affect you in the long run.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I gave the best examples, but I just couldn't think of anything where it's like, yeah, you do this, it might affect you.
The only one that I could really think of is, like, crashing out. Like, if you crash out and that person, like, oh, I thought you was, okay, anyway. So let's say, for example, like, you beefing with your significant other, you slash their tires, right? Boom. Now, it can go two ways. It could go two ways. It could go, he calls the cops or she calls the cops on you. Now you're going to jail. That is like a decision that, like, was it worth it? Was it worth slashing that person's tire? Like, nah, it wasn't worth it. It could also go the other way, like, you know, he don't really care because he's used to that, so he's not calling the cops, and he's just like, you know, y'all dealing with it. But it can go two ways. So I just feel like you always have to think, is your decision worth it? Was it worth doing? Was it worth the consequences, whether good or bad? So.
Wow. Crashing out.
I was gonna say pregnancy.
Oh, yes.
Thinking about
Rebuke.
if you
Same here.
if you are active, then that's something you have to think about
Right.
on how you're doing it, because something goes wrong, that will affect you in 10 months and for the next all of your years.
For the rest of your life. Yeah, yeah.
Don't be sexually active.
But yeah, but I feel like you were saying something, and I wanted to. You were saying how like,
You don't put it in that category?
yeah, you don't like put it in that category.
You just kind of like.
But I'm thinking like, well, if you think about all of your decisions in now, a little bit later, and in the future, then you can kind of try to account for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, well.
I don't know why he looking at me. I got nothing to say to that.
I thought you just said that you didn't agree with it.
I didn't agree. That's why I was just saying, like, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, guys.
She want to be me.
No.
bad.
I don't.
Wanna be
What
you.
question are we asking?
Nobody
them?
want to be you.
Skirt, what question are we asking our lovely audience? Do y'all think y'all actions be worth it? You think crashing over that man worth it? Let me know. Somebody
are
let me
some
know.
bad or good decisions?
Right.
Bad or good. It could be good.
Mostly good. We don't really want the bad.
I mean, the bad ones could be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah.
But let us know
That's so
in the comments.
In the comments below,
In the
y'all.
comments below, let us know. Feel free to leave bad ones.
No,
And good ones, too.
You can be anonymous.
You can,
How
yes.
you be anonymous on YouTube? You want them to put anonymous ones?
My friend did this.
Yeah.
Boo! We want to hear the good things. We want to, be able to support
Hear the
y'all.
juicy things.
But
Yeah.
he's messy. Like, it's a sassy man.
Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching of our second episode of Let's Chat, y'all. I'm over them. Anyway.
We're both over her.
We're all over you. Anyways.
Our Instagrams are in the link, are below.
Somewhere on the screen. Oh.
They'll be somewhere.
They're below.
You can find us.
Yes. Instagram, TikTok. We also have a Instagram page called Let's Chat.
Shout out to
MJ.
this annoying man right here.
And we also have a TikTok, guys. It'll also be down below.
TikTok, Spotify,
Yes.
Instagram, YouTube. Get
All-
active.
All of it, y'all. Go spam everything.
Also, Powerade, sponsor me.
No.
What?
Wait.
Sponsored by Powerade.
Wait.
Anyways, we really do appreciate y'all for tuning into our second episode of Let's Chat of 2025. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can literally text our personal Instagram, but we do have like a Let's Chat Instagram, so we really would advise you to text that one if you want, a quicker
Yeah,
answer,
you're gonna get a
but-
better response.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and that's it. We
Right.
appreciate y'all, and tune in for our next episode, which will
Right.
be next. I'm not giving y'all a date. They don't know how to edit on time. But anyway.
Khamani.
All right.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Bye.
that's enough for today. We'll see y'all.